So it begins.
Okay, let's talk about how a flat earther, Jaron, traveled all the way to Antarctica to test his theory that the earth is flat, only to be proven wrong. He admitted it himself that he was wrong, that actually the earth is round. Now, deep divers, this information right here that I'm going to share with you is going to blow your mind and inspire you at the same time. Do you remember, deep divers, when I had my intro? I still have my intro, deep divers, of a round globe, and all of you are like, oh my gosh. Not all of you. So many of you are like, Ralph, the earth is flat. And I'm like, not my earth. And we ain't even had breakfast yet. Can I get a hello there? So let me read you this, deep divers, before I play you the video. I want to give you some context. Okay, so what happened? Okay, so a group of popular flat earth YouTubers have admitted defeat against the Globers after taking a trip to Antarctica to witness the 24-hour sun. Colorado pastor Will Duffy organized the highly anticipated December 14th trip, dubbed the Final Experiment, which brought together 4 flat earthers and 4 globe earthers in an attempt to settle the debate once and for all. Flat earthers have long maintained that Antarctica holds the key to proving the earth is flat. Now, this is very important. Listen, in summer, due to the tilt of the earth, the sun does not set over much of the continent. In the flat earth view of the world, Antarctica is actually an ice wall that encircles the other continents and holds in the oceans. If that view were correct, the sun must rise and set each day, even in Antarctica, and could never circle the sky all 24 hours. Okay, so Jaron said, all right, guys, sometimes you are wrong in life. He admitted that actually he was wrong, right? So this is Jaron, okay, right here. And this is the video. This is the video of him admitting he was wrong.
So obviously you all know Jaron Campanella of Jaronism, one of the most popular flat earth YouTube channels.
Not for long. All right, guys. Sometimes you are wrong in life. And I thought that there was no 24-hour sun. In fact, I was pretty sure of it. But I respect Will Duffy for being a stand-up guy, at least in the way that he kept saying it was true. I kept saying it wasn't. He said, do you want to go? I'll take you. And brought me here. And it's a fact. The sun does circle you in the south. So what does that mean? You guys are going to have to figure that out yourself. Don't listen to my beliefs or my opinion. It shouldn't matter to you. But at least you should be able to accept that the sun does exactly what these guys said as far as circles the southern continent. So that's about it. I realize that I'll be called a shill for just saying that. And you know what? If you're a shill for being honest, so be it. I honestly believe there was no 24-hour sun. I honestly now believe there is. That's it. If you want to call me a shill, so be it. I'll live to see another day, and at least I know that I got to see it. And I just want to say thanks to Will. Through everything, you've been at least kind to me, and I appreciate that. And I appreciate the trip.
Right. So what do I think of this whole flat earther going to Antarctica, testing his theory, and coming back to say, okay, I was wrong. Actually, the earth is not flat. Actually, the earth is round. Now, deep divers, my intro is a round globe. First and foremost, you can be a flat earther. doesn't mean that it's true. I'm not a flat earther. And I'm not a round earther either. I know that Earth is curved because everywhere in nature is curved. But I'm definitely not a flat earther. I can see why a lot of people might have believed the Earth was flat because some people say, okay, as soon as you go outside of your house, everything seems flat. Unless you're like, even, wait a second, even when you're seeing the ocean, infinite waters, right? It's like totally flat. And some people also believe it's a flat Earth because when you go high, and no matter how high your elevation is, the horizon always appears eye level. That's what some people say, and that's their excuse for why they believe that's why they believe the Earth is flat. But there's science, right? And you've got to remind yourself, science means to know, right? So I've always known that the Earth is not flat. At the same time, I'm also aware that these pictures right here from NASA, that's not actually what Earth looks like. These are composites, right? Composites, right? So this is like a Photoshop. NASA can't give you an image of what Earth looks like because they just can't do that. So these are, and NASA even tells you that.
Ignorance is bliss.
Then we have a deal.
I don't want to remember nothing. Nothing. You understand? And I want to be rich. You know, someone important. Like an actor.
Whatever you want.
But at the same time, in my mind, just like Jaren found out right here, the Earth is not flat, you know. Now, why does it even matter? Right? I was always thinking that whenever people were sending me like messages, hey, do a video, is the Earth flat, is the Earth round? I'm like, hey, focus on becoming your greatest version. It's all a distraction. Like those flat earthers started to come around like 2012, 2015, that time. And I'm like, it doesn't matter, right? And they were always saying, hey, Ralph, the Earth is flat. I'm like, hey, I even know someone who's like, hey, the Earth is flat. And sometimes you got to be careful about just believing to the point where you get stuck in your ways. You see, you know, I can commend Jaren for saying, actually, I was wrong. Sometimes you have to say that. You know, you have to question your beliefs. This is how we become our greatest version, people. Question your beliefs. Don't think that you know everything. I don't know everything. And I want people to challenge me. And if you are someone who is a flat earther, you have to be challenged. Okay? I listen to people like physicists, right? People like Brian Cox, what he had to say about it. Take a listen.
There is absolutely no basis at all for thinking the world is flat. Nobody in human history, as far as I know, has thought the world was flat. The Greeks measured the radius of the Earth. I cannot conceive of a reason why anybody would think that the world is flat. There are interesting bits of physics that tell you that you live on a spinning planet. One of them is called the Coriolis force, which is the force that's responsible for causing storm systems to rotate on the planet. So when you see those beautiful pictures of storms spinning around and rotating, the reason for that is that we live on a spinning planet. But there's some nice physics in there actually, if you want to dig more deeply. Putting all that aside, the theoretical stuff, the very simple fact that we've taken pictures of it, I Yeah, you see, I'm lost for words. It's probably the most nonsensical suggestion that a thinking human being could possibly make. It is drivel.
Well, here's why I slightly disagree. I don't think it's drivel. There's a reason why a lot of people believe the earth is flat. Why? Because it even goes back to the Bible. Let me bring it up. I got the receipts, deep divers. I got the receipts. So this is Genesis 1:6-8. And God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. And God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament, and it was so. So a firmament is a dome, right? A firmament is a dome, and this could be why there are a lot of flat earthers. But once again, I don't believe the earth is flat. And I always say question everything. Because you won't know if the earth is truly round unless you go outside of space. You go outside of Earth. You go outside of Earth. You go outside of Earth and you take a picture. You got to find out for yourself. But once again, even these pictures, NASA admits that this is not actually what Earth looks like, but they have to kind of make a composite and put images together and kind of change it all up and then give you this. But this is not actually what it looks like. But I do believe the Earth is curved. It is round, but I don't believe it's exactly like how they show it to us. But I definitely don't believe it's flat, right? So once again, I always say when we talk about becoming your greatest version, question everything and don't be too big to say, actually, I was wrong. Once again, you have to remind yourself that if the earth is flat, if it's round, how is it going to affect you day to day? How is it going to help you become your greatest version? I couldn't care less if the earth was flat or round. The question I have is, how can I become my greatest version today? How can I help other people? But at the same time, you got to remind yourself, this whole flat earth thing, it was like a cult. It was like a big business. A lot of people are still making tons of money out of people who blindly believe in it. And it's a money grab. At the same time, you've got to remind yourself that one of the greatest things you can do is to question yourself, question what you believe. And that will ultimately lead you to the truth. Just because the earth is not flat, it doesn't mean it's exactly what NASA tells you it is. You also have to question NASA. Okay? Question everything, deep divers, and you will be led to the truth.
I was on Google Earth and I came across something that I thought was pretty amazing, and that is that when you draw a path between 2 points on Google Earth, you can then ask it to show you the elevation cross-section between those 2 points, so you can kind of see the rise and fall of the landscape like a topographical map. So just to test it out, I drew a path from my dad's house in Denver, Colorado, to my house in Cincinnati, Ohio. And I want to show you something very interesting. When I choose to show the elevation cross-section, you can see it's basically this red line. The starting point at my dad's house is 5,394 feet above sea level. And he's in Denver, Colorado, which is the mile-high city, so that's what you would expect. But then as you move east, and you can see the red arrow move east as I go that direction, the landscape starts to change where the elevation drops down and it continues to drop. You go from the foothills of the Rocky Mountains into the plains of Colorado, Kansas, into Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, and then finally you get into Cincinnati, Ohio, to my house, which is 764 feet above sea level. So what's interesting is Google Earth wants us to believe that the landscape makes this curve as shown here. But the elevation cross section actually shows that the landscape of the United States from my dad's house to my house follows this path. And most of us, when we were in elementary school, learned that the Rocky Mountains, which is close to where my dad lives, is the continental divide that divides the rainfall from east to west. I'm pretty sure when I was a kid, I've been to the Milner Pass, which is about 2 miles above sea level. And there's a sign that says the Great Divide separates drainage to the Atlantic from the drainage to the Pacific. It traverses America from Alaska almost to Cape Horn. And so that would make sense if the landscape does follow this topographical cross-section. I wanted to see what would happen when you look at the elevation cross-section over a great body of water. So starting at the northernmost point, as far as I can get, of Lake Michigan, and then traveling south, you can see that red line here, that the body of Lake Michigan is 574 feet above sea level, and it's level. There's no change in elevation, there's no curve. This cross-section shows what an undisturbed body of water looks like, and that's level. We know that to be true. There's 3 properties of liquids. They have mass, they take up space, and they always take the shape of their container. And so Lake Michigan from north to south is 574 feet above sea level. So then just to do another check, I wanted to see what the elevation profile would look like for Hudson Bay in Canada. Relatively a large undisturbed body of water. And you'll see here from the westernmost side, it shows an elevation of -2 feet below sea level, and it's level for a distance of over 879 miles. So what does all that mean? What I believe it means is that water is flat, water seeks its own level, therefore the idea that we're spinning on a globe is absolutely impossible.
If I stop shaking this water, which will make the director very happy, then what happens? The water returns to its natural state. It isn't natural for water to be agitated. Something else is doing that. And when you stop the agitation, the water just naturally, without any other factors involved, goes back to its natural state. It returns to being level, still, and then it also has the ability, when it's calm and clear, it has the ability to reflect things. When it's completely agitated, the surface of the water has no ability to reflect things accurately.
For as important as it is to the global economy, the Suez Canal is a relatively straightforward structure, essentially a trapezoidal channel cut through the sand of the low-lying Suez Peninsula, and taking advantage of the existing Great Bitter Lake at the center. Unlike the Panama Canal, which uses locks to raise vessels up for transit, the Suez Canal is entirely at sea level, with no gates or locks. The Suez Canal is entirely at sea level, with no gates or locks.
Now you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow, or it can crash. Be water, my friend.